Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you doing?
Excellent. Excellent.
Good,
This has
good.
become I know this is number three, but it's become the highlight of my week.
Is it? Me too. I love this because we could just talk about anything and
Yeah,
we could talk for hours. It's good that
I
we give
know.
ourselves a time cap.
Yeah, it's all good.
I know, it's great. And I'm getting great response, by the way. A lot of questions are coming in, which is fabulous because we know that we're doing this because there are a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So, one of the biggest questions I'm getting right now, and I have some personal thoughts, is as you know, She Bueno just launched our Build Your Own box, BYOB, and it's got like a lot of amazing Canadian made products, mostly made by women, for women to help with the things that happen during menopause. And one of my favorite products is this saucy little container called Feel Amazing, which is a vaginal moisturizer.
Yes.
So, big questions I keep getting, which I figured best to turn it over to you, the creator of Feel Amazing
Bring it on.
and the knower of all things vaginal.
No, no. I still like to stand on my soapbox and shout out about it as much as I can.
Well, here's your chance. So,
Okay.
the big question was, what is the difference between a vaginal moisturizer and a lubricant? And that's the
Ooh.
first question. And how
Yep.
do you know if you need a vaginal moisturizer?
Oh, great, great questions. Okay, let's start with moisturizer versus lubricant. I
Yes.
love that question.
That's a
So it gets confusing because health practitioners sometimes tell women to use a lubricant for dryness. And a lubricant is actually a barrier to friction. So
right.
a lubricant, that's like why we put oil in our frying pan, right? We don't want it to stick.
Yes.
And so that's the same reason why, and I happen to have a lubricant here. The one I'm using right now is from Okanagan Joy, BC based women developed
Oh,
lubricant.
yay.
You use this because for pleasure and fun. And it's a single use, one time. There are absolutely no long lasting benefits to a lubricant beyond preventing friction.
Right.
Pleasure and joy, use a lubricant. Moisturizing is a different story. And for the same reason that we put a moisturizer on our face or on our hands or on our elbows or on our feet, is that once we apply it, we know that that is being absorbed into our skin cells and working for a longer period of time.
Right.
So for the vulva and the vagina, and this maybe gets into your second question a little bit,
Oh,
is
that's great.
our skin loves hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a naturally occurring molecule that our body makes on our own. And that is something that I don't know that the whole world understands, because probably if you're like me, the first time you heard the word hyaluronic acid was in an ad for a beauty cream,
Yeah.
right? And in 2008, the beauty industry was allowed to start using hyaluronic acid in its products. And now we see it everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And so the skin loves hyaluronic acid. We make it on our own, but it starts to decline in our 30s and in our 40s,
Okay.
and more significantly post-menopause. The second thing that happens post-menopause is that estrogen declines rapidly. So the vulva and vagina, our skin, the vulva is on the outside.
Oh, you brought your pet vagina.
The vulva is everything externally from the clitoris to the anus. And then the vagina
It's a
is
puppet.
everything inside, all skin cells, right?
Right.
So the why you want to use a moisturizer with hyaluronic acid is you want to give those skin cells back one of the ingredients that they used to benefit from when
Hmm.
we were younger.
Yeah.
That's kind of the bottom line. Now, I mentioned hyaluronic acid and I mentioned estrogen. So both of those things are beneficial to the health of the vagina. The North American Menopause Society and the International Society of Gynecologists recommend moisturizing as the first line of defense.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
right? So do this, and you can even do it preventatively, which is what I did. I didn't
Yeah,
want to experience vaginal dryness. I didn't
I
want,
wish I had known about this 10 years ago.
it's okay because you can turn a raisin back into a grape.
You can?
But yeah, of course, with treatments, like this is approved for the treatment of vaginal dryness, and so is estrogen therapy, vaginal estrogen therapy. But for me personally, I was doing everything to not experience
Yeah.
the dryness. So I did use it preventatively, but that's not anybody that is experiencing it right now or who has experience. Like, we just need to underscore the fact that there are preventative and treatment options. So,
That's awesome. And I think the thing is, for me, when I heard you talk about hyaluronic acid for your vagina, I was thinking that is the first time I think I'd heard that. Like, I'm very aware of it for my face, but I'd
yeah.
never thought about, using it for vulva, vagina. Like, it didn't, I guess I sort of felt like, well, it's, painful sex. This is what I'm stuck with.
Oh, geez.
My
Sorry to
doctor was
hear
also someone who recommended that I use a lubricant.
that.
And when I did some research and spoke to a woman who had a brand that dealt with dryness as well, she said there is a key ingredient in lubricant that is also present in antifreeze.
Mhm.
And you have to be very careful with those ingredients when you go into like the drugstore and you're selecting a product to use. I prefer to go all natural, but a couple of years ago, that wasn't an option.
Yeah. So let me tell you about hyaluronic acid first, and then we can talk about lubricants and how to shop for them. Um, this wasn't just like, oh, hyaluronic acid for my face, I guess I'll use it in my vagina. That's not how the story goes. So in 2008, hyaluronic acid was approved for use in the beauty industry. In 2013, a Swiss gynecologist by the name of Dr. Petra Stute, her and her team studied hyaluronic acid. And the study that they did was to find out if hyaluronic acid was as effective as vaginal estrogen for the treatment of vaginal dryness. And the answer was yes. So
Okay.
since 2013, hyaluronic acid has been approved for the treatment of vaginal dryness. In 2021, in May 2021, the International Society of Gynecologists recommended to all of its members, so all of its members are gynecologists, that moisturizing with hyaluronic acid be the first line of defense for women. And it's kind of like, if in a perfect world, it's like a layering strategy, right? So one of the ways in which we can prioritize the energy in our vagina and our pelvic floor is through sexual energy, right? So if sex is comfortable, if penetrative sex is comfortable,
Mhm.
then have sex with or without a partner, and that's good for your health, right? Do regular pelvic floor exercises, same thing, sending energy to the pelvic floor, good for the production of natural lubrication. Then as we age, we can moisturize,
Yep.
right? Approved for the prevention and treatment. And then as we get further and further away from our date of menopause, we might also need localized hormone therapy, which can be estrogen or DHEA.
Okay.
Yeah.
DHA. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, it's also a hormone, and the brand name for DHEA that was just approved in Canada, it's been used in the States for a number of years, is Intrarosa, or Prasterone is the ingredient that's in it. And I'm not the best chemist at explaining this, but when DHEA is applied to the vagina, it converts naturally to the amount of estrogen and testosterone that we need.
So this is considered a hormone therapy
It's
treatment.
a hormone therapy treatment
You
that
wouldn't
your
need a,
physician, yeah,
okay, that makes total
definitely.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the dryness issue,
Yes.
I think this is a really challenging one for women because so many things sort of happen around the same time. So, if you're perimenopause, you can start losing, your libido can start to crash a little bit. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that doesn't happen till menopause. We now go 3 years between pap smears.
Mhm.
What it is?
Different provinces have different regulations.
Yeah, I think here in Ontario, I think it's 3.
Yep.
Um, and so if you don't have a libido, and say you don't have a partner, so you're not self-pleasuring, or if you have a partner, you're not having sex and you're not self-pleasuring, you haven't had a pap smear in 3 years. So take that 3-year time frame and say nothing's happening. You're not doing anything. Then you go for a pap smear or you try to have sex or something, and wow, you have no idea that that's happened, because how else would you know? It's not something, you don't feel vaginal dryness happening on a day-to-day basis for
Ooh,
me. Oh, you
yeah.
do? Okay.
Yeah, some many women can. So to the touch, wiping, sitting can be uncomfortable.
Oh,
Wearing certain clothing. I have a story that just like nearly broke my heart once. I was interviewing a naturopathic doctor, and she told me about a patient that had come in, and the patient said to her, "Huh, so glad it's summer. Now I can wear sundresses." And the doctor was kind of like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? She goes, oh, vaginal dryness so bad. I can't wear pants or jeans anymore.
oh my God.
Yeah. So
And
it's definitely a spectrum, and there are a
okay.
lot of women who are suffering in silence. Can I just jump in before I forget this
Yeah.
thought? Because I
Yeah.
know that a lot of your boxes like cater to all women, women who are going through breast cancer treatment or post breast cancer treatment. And there's so many reasons why someone might experience vulva and vaginal dryness. We talk a lot about the menopause space,
Yeah.
but the birth control pill is a big culprit.
Oh,
So the
okay.
birth control pill is a form of hormone therapy where we give our body hormones when it doesn't actually need them, but
Yeah.
you want to prevent a pregnancy, so it's a chosen therapy. Another reason for vulva and vaginal dryness is postpartum.
Okay. Yeah,
And I
that makes
think that
sense.
there's probably so many women, like even our daughters or our nieces, who might be experiencing that and they don't know who to tell or talk to because they
Yeah.
feel so alone in
Yeah.
that space, right? So postpartum and breastfeeding can lead to vaginal dryness, cancer treatments,
Yes.
other health conditions, and even certain medications. So
Yes.
you might be taking something because you have X that you're trying to treat, and it's got this unfortunate side effect. So yeah, I don't think that we paint the whole picture enough. And I just wanted to mention that
No, we
that
don't,
if you're
because
a breast cancer survivor and you're experiencing vulva and vaginal dryness, I don't care whether you're sexually active with someone else or with yourself. Just I want you to be comfortable because you've already gone through enough.
Mhm.
And this is definitely a,
And one of the things I hear a lot about from women who do go through like post-surgical, post-treatment menopause, which happens like within hours or
yeah,
days of treatment, and they're really thrown into it without any sort of ramp up like perimenopause to
immediately.
prepare.
Yeah.
But they go home with like, this is just from women I've talked to. They go home with like stacks of information, and at the very bottom there's like a piece that says, "Oh, P.S. Now you're in menopause. Bye bye."
Yeah.
Like, and what? And what does it mean? Like, when are those symptoms, when are symptoms related to menopause confusing with symptoms that could be like the sign that your medication isn't working, you're having
Right.
some sort of reaction, or the cancer is back. So,
Mhm.
no, like nobody feels really prepared that I've spoken to. And so I think this is a good place to start, like having that in your, your
Yeah.
makeup bag, your everyday, day-to-day bag is
For
having,
sure. And I have one more too.
yeah.
And I think about this when I think about our mothers and our grandmothers. So they may have not gotten the information that, you and I and our demographic has a lot of exposure to information right now, but maybe they're 20 or 30 or 40 years since they reached menopause.
Yeah.
And they might be experiencing dryness and discomfort and think that it's something they have to put up with,
Yep.
and they don't. So we have to remind them that they're not meant to suffer. Plus, they're probably susceptible to reoccurring UTIs,
Yeah.
urinary tract infections. So
Mhm.
whether you're moisturizing or using localized hormone therapy, when you're moist, and this is why this is called a vulva and vaginal moisturizer, is that you can apply it to the urethra.
Okay.
And post-menopause, the urethra gets shorter and smaller, and therefore it's more susceptible to infection, like UTIs.
Oh,
So
so this helps prevent
it will
that.
not treat a UTI. If you have a
No.
UTI, you're going to need to go to your doctor. 8 million doctor visits a year are the result of
Wow.
UTIs. But we can prevent UTIs by maintaining and prioritizing the health of the vulva and the vagina. So that's another bonus.
Bonus. Yes, that is a bonus.
Yeah.
Where did you get your vagina puppet?
It was hand sewn by a woman named Dory Lane. She's a retired nurse in San Francisco, I believe.
Yeah.
Makes amazing, like this. Let me see if I've got an example here.
Well, you have more stuff?
Well, this is her postcard. So look at all the
Oh,
different patterns and colors.
I love this. I
Yeah,
feel a
amazing.
new Halloween costume coming on.
And then she sent me coasters,
Oh, hey.
right?
Yeah,
So
I see
to
that.
make sure that you know all the parts and all their names.
Oh, good. This is great when you're just sitting with the girls having a glass of wine. You want to learn all. It's easier than putting a mirror down there.
Really good for teaching your kids too.
Yes,
You met
yes,
my daughter, right? You met
yes.
my daughter. Thank you
Yep.
so much for speaking to her. So I made a huge, colossal mistake and
What?
I didn't even know it. I thought my kids were growing up in this like super informed environment. And then when she was 18, she worked for me for a summer
Yeah.
and she put together like the original website for Moisturize Your Vagina. And she came to me and said, you never told me that it was called a vulva. I'm
Ah,
like, what? I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
you just kind of,
You assume,
yeah.
and doctor's visits, you just sort of assume sex ed, right?
Culture calls everything the vagina,
Vagina.
but
Yeah.
actually the vagina is
Culture and
the
Jackie.
internal part.
I did that till 3 years ago. I called everything. I painted it all with the vagina word. But it,
Right.
yes, and I think especially when you're talking to your doctor and you're trying to explain symptoms, it's really important to know what all the bits are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another riveting conversation with you today was one of my favorites. You brought a puppet. I'll bring one next time. So if anybody has any questions, let us know. We'll answer it on our weekly chat.
Okay.
And yeah, and Shirley, great chatting with you. I'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Jackie.